Next up, we do have Soap. Soap is not the best party member, unfortunately. If we take a look at his stats, nothing really stands out as fantastic. Most of his stuff is kind of in the middle. His HP and his MP kind of in the middle, as are his strength is actually a little bit on the lower side. His magic is 7th in the party, only better than Sheska. Everybody else does better than him. His vitality is decent. His spirit is okay. Nothing really stands out as to what would make Soap the best party member, unfortunately. If we take a look at his limited moon, you can see that it does, what is that, 93 more strength in order to give us 182 total attack power. And it doesn't have the greatest multiplier, unfortunately. It is 3 times the attack power multiplied by Soap's current MP divided by his max MP, and then add 1 to that as well. So at the end of the day, the most that really Soap can do with a full MP bar is roughly 3 times a normal attack. It's the same as Fred's, but there are better ways to try to get that up from other ultimate weapons. So unfortunately, Soap is not the best. If we take a look at his limit break also is not the best. It attacks all opponents, which can be great. However, it attacks all opponents just once. Everybody else attacks multiple times. So the most that Cosmo Memory can do is just under 10,000 damage on multiple opponents, granted, but still capped at 9999 damage. It does roughly 8 times. We'll just go roughly 8 times. It's actually 7 and 13/16 times a normal attack for Soap. But once again, just the one attack. So unfortunately, Soap is not the best party member. Next up, we do have Datmaiho. Datmaiho is not my favorite character, but he does have his uses. His strength is not very good. His HP is actually pretty good, but his MP is very, very low. Which is kind of weird because his magic is actually the 2nd highest in the game. So he can do a lot of damage when he uses magic, but he can't do it very often because he doesn't have that much MP. Well, 846. It's still a lot, but I would want to get that higher, get that maxed out if I am to be using him. His spirit is actually pretty good. It's on the higher side. His strength, dexterity, vitality, those are all low though. And his overall attack is also quite low. When it comes to his ultimate weapon, HP Shout, there is a gimmick to it, just like there is any other one. It is the same as Fred's though. So 3 times the power, times current HP, divided by max HP, plus 1. So at the end of the day, you can only really do 3 times his attack power, plus 1. And if we're being honest, his random factor on a normal attack is so high that sometimes you can do easily double what you did last time you attacked. So really his damage calculator is insane. And it's really hard to figure out what exactly Datmaiho is going to do whenever he attacks. He only has 2 limit breaks, Datmaiho. We've seen Dice. This is probably the one that you would want to use most often if you're just trying to do damage. The way that it works at this level is that it will roll 6 dice. So that's the maximum. You can have 6 dice. It will add all of the dice together, and then it will multiply that by however many repeats you have. So if you have 3 3s, it will multiply the sum by 3. If you have 4 2s, it'll multiply it by 4. Does that make sense? However many repeats you have, but it's only that one repeat. And then it'll multiply that by 100. But really, at the end of the day, the most you can do is just under 10,000 because it only does 1 attack on 1 opponent. Now, slots, though, we have not gone over slots. Slots is so weird. I don't have time to explain it right now. You will just have to wait for the Limit Break special to hopefully see, if I can get them all, hopefully see all the different outcomes that can happen when you do the slots. There's so damn many of them. And they range from, I believe there's a way to get nothing on slots, to you win. Instant win. Against any opponent. There is a way in the slots to just win. Just flat out win. So if you're good at using the slots and you want to cheap your way to victory, that's the way to do it. It'll kill anything and anybody. Does not matter. Ignores all instant death checks. But that's that Maiho. Once again, just so random that I don't really like using them that much. Next up we do have Crash. Crash is, once again, not the best party member. If you just want to look at his stats, he's arguably the worst character in the game, just purely based off of stats. His strength and his dexterity are pretty average, as is his vitality. His HP is okay, but his MP is pretty low. We're in the 700s. That's not a good place to be. His magic and his spirit are very low. Not good at all. And he has the worst luck in the game. Not that that matters too much, but he is quite unlucky in the plot as well. His Venus Gospel does increase his attack by 97 for a total of 188. And it does have a multiplier that, just like Soap, uses MP. So it's 3 times power times current MP divided by max MP plus 1 for a grand total of 3 times multiplying the damage if he's got a full MP bar. If we take a look at his limit break, he does have High Wind. High Wind is very nice if you ask me. It does 18 attacks. 18. That's a lot of attacks. I think it just does 1 enemy per attack though, but 18 attacks, you're probably going to hit everybody on the screen. Each attack does 11/16 of his normal attack for a grand total of 12 3/8 times a normal attack. For those of you that aren't good with fractions like me, that would be roughly 69% of a normal attack each time, and 12.38 times a normal attack if I round like 2 digits. So that's Crash. Once again, not that great. I do like High Wind, but if we're really looking at it, Catastrophe would be a much better option with Tank. Crash is kind of like Tank, but if you ask me, not as good. It's a similar strategy, kind of physical, but not as much as Tank is. Next up we have Stefan. Stefan is a physically weak character. His HP is the lowest in the game, but he does have the most MP. If we take a look at his strength is actually the lowest in the game. His dexterity is not very good. His vitality is the worst in the game as well. This guy cannot take a hit, at least a physical hit. His magic is decent. It's kind of on the lower side, but it's decent. His spirit is actually quite good. It's second in the game only to Fred. His luck, also quite good, not that it matters that much. His death penalty, though, this is where Stefan really shines and why everybody is a fan of using him, even though he is quite weak when it comes to physical prowess. His magic defense is good. His magic's not bad. Well, it's on the lower side, but this death penalty, it really makes up for that. His attack power is raised by 99 because he has the death penalty on, but its gimmick, its multiplier is insane. How the death penalty works is it takes his power, multiplies that by the kills that he has done, divides that by 128, and then again by 16, and adds 1 to it. That's a lot of dividing, so why is it so powerful? Because you can get 65,535 kills before the game stops adding your kills. If you were to get all of those kills, it would multiply your damage by 32. That's insane. 32 times the multiplier. Once again, just like Tank, there's not really a reason to do that because you can't break the damage limit of 9999, but it's a lot easier to get there if you keep on killing people. If we take a look at his limit break, his is probably my least favorite limit break after Dynamite. I don't like Dynamite because I'm bad at slots. If I was good at slots, it would probably be my favorite. Stefan turns into Chaos, which pretty much berserkers him, and I am never a fan of Berserker. When he turns into Chaos, he has 2 main attacks. He does a Chaos Saber, which does 2.5 times damage to all opponents. Then he has a secondary attack called Satan Slam. Satan Slam will kill everyone unless they're immune to death. If they are immune to death, then it'll do 5 5/8 times normal damage against everyone. That's 5.63. in case you're curious. But because it does berserker him, I am not a fan of it. But everybody loves using Stefan because of that death penalty. He can do so much physical damage should you have him kill a whole bunch of people. And I had him kill a whole bunch of people. And finally, we do have Spaz. Spaz is a surprisingly good character, if you ask me. I did not expect her to be this good. Her HP and MP are low. Don't get me wrong, they are low, amongst the worst in our party. But she is the fastest character we have in our party. She's pretty weak in terms of strength. She is also not so good at taking a hit, 6th in vitality. Her magic is actually pretty good. For somebody that didn't grow up with materia, I assume, she's quite proficient at it. Her spirit, though, is also low, so she is easy to kill, unfortunately. She can't really take a hit, be it physical or be it magic. She can't really take a hit. She is the luckiest character in the game, as I'm sure you might expect. Her attack power is quite low with the Conformer at just 184. That's 96 on the Conformer. However, the Conformer is quite a good weapon to have. It doesn't factor in really that much. It factors in her attack power and the enemy level. Divides that by 16. It's kind of a simple formula, but that does mean that it powers up with the more powerful opponents that you fight. Now, if you were to fight a level 99 enemy, say Emerald Weapon, it will roughly work out to just over 6 times of a damage multiplier, which is pretty damn good. That is the 3rd highest in the game, but once again, that is only against Emerald Weapon or other level 99 opponents, I guess. I'm trying to think if the other one is. I haven't gone over the other one yet. But if we take a look at Spaz's limit break, we do have All Creation. It does attack all opponents. It does, unfortunately, just 1 attack when we do All Creation. So I'm not a big fan of the limit break because it only does 1 attack. So the most it can do is just under 10,000 damage. It does 8 times the normal damage output, though. And those are the characters. So now it is time for me to get a party together and we can take on the 2 optional super bosses of the game. If you thought Ultimate Weapon was tough, you're gonna see nothing yet.